Good morning. It's Friday the 1st of August 2025. The time, of course, is 10 past tomorrow. And today I'd like to talk about the fact that what only the top 5% of humans in your company or organization used to be able to achieve, today every employee can achieve. Now, is that a bold statement? Yes, absolutely, but it's not AI hype, I promise you. I have personally seen this transformation happen in many clients that I work with. I am talking about CustomGPTs. CustomGPTs are the most intuitive, lowest barrier to entry, democratized mechanism currently available in the world of AI. They take what you define as elite performance by your top performing teams in your organization, and they allow you to scale that elite output out across the whole organization. So custom GPTs are not just about speed, they're not just about doing things faster, they are very much about enabling top tier performance and applying consistency to it. So they are about raising quality, and in doing so they free up that really valuable human energy for creative and strategic thinking. So a custom GPT can absorb your best internal practices, and in doing so, it can become the first port of call for every employee who does that task or process. And so you elevate the playing field for all of your people. Custom GPTs are, in my view, the most underutilized and most powerful way to infuse AI productivity into teams today. I'll say that again. Custom GPTs, in my view, are the most underutilized and most powerful way to infuse AI productivity into teams today. They're not fringe technology, they're not coming in the near future, they are here, and they've been here actually for the past 18 months, and they're astonishingly effective. One of the best parts about them is there's no secret handshake to them, there's no technical skill required to build one, they're completely democratized as a tool. I've taught them to 18-year-olds, I've taught them to 70-year-olds. So all you need to create a custom GPT is clarity about what your objective is, to understand in your own head what does success look like for this task or process. You need to write a good prompt and just have the willingness to try and experiment. So my wish for you watching this video essay is very simple, that you become fluent in building custom GPTs. Why? Because I estimate I have the equivalent of about 1.5 human FTEs helping me each week, just through the library of custom GPTs that I've built for myself around tasks and processes that I do regularly, right? They really are that powerful and revolutionary that for me it's like having 1.5 human assistants. I want that for you too, right? So here's my lightning definition of what a custom GPT is. It's a mini assistant built on top of ChatGPT and sits inside ChatGPT that you build just using your own prompt and optionally your own files. So they sit right inside custom GPT in the left-hand menu. They behave exactly how you want them to behave. They speak in your tone of voice if you want them to. They carry out work according to your own internal standard operating procedures and preferences. So you could think of a custom GPT as similar to an app that does one task or process incredibly well. But crucially, there's no code required to build it. No engineers needed, just you and, as I say, a carefully crafted prompt and some of your own files. And because you use a custom GPT in the same way that you use regular ChatGPT's chat interface, anyone can use a custom GPT. Now, I just want to point out, although I'm talking specifically about custom GPTs in this video, which are OpenAI technology, sits inside ChatGPT, it's worth mentioning that they have very close cousins living within Google Gemini, and they're called Gems, and within Claude, and they're called Projects. So although they live in different platforms, the design and the functionality and the output are almost exactly the same. And so therefore, everything I'm telling you can be directly matched and achieved in Gemini and in Claude if you have a preference for using those platforms. Now, before I walk you through a high level of how to build custom GPTs, let me quickly give you a few real world examples of what these things can do. I have a custom GPT I call my co-strategist. It's loaded up with my own strategic documents, mission statements, and business frameworks, and I use it almost like a business mentor. So whenever I'm making decisions about how to run 10 past tomorrow, I consult it to challenge my thinking, sharpen my thinking, etc. There's another one I've got called my workshop summary GPT. This is a very tactical one. After I run a workshop or deliver a keynote, I drop the recorded transcript straight into it, and in a couple of minutes I get this really powerful short form summary that I can then email out to the client. It saves me hours each week. I also have a HubSpot GPT. I've loaded that one up with every technical document and how-to guide that HubSpot have published, and my system prompt asks it to function like a customer support agent. So I now have this really fast, at my fingertips, like a HubSpot support desk for myself. And then on the client side, recently I helped build with an engineering firm a resource consent GPT for them. It writes technical reports that they have to submit as part of the resource consent process. They have said what used to take a small team 3 weeks to write that report now takes one person 3 hours. Those are just a few examples. Please be inspired and motivated by them, but don't be limited by those ideas, because what you can build with a custom GPT really is just limited by your imagination. So how do you build one? As I've said, it's fast. You don't need developers. You don't need code. I'm going to give you a high-level overview here. My goal is just to inspire and engage you, but I'm not doing all of the technical steps. We do that kind of tactical training in our 10 Past Tomorrow AI Academy. But today I'll just describe and illustrate how quick and easy these custom GPTs are to bring to life. So first, you start by just pick a high-friction, repeatable workflow, something that chews up your time, a task or process that chews up your time weekly, right? Or actually, it might be something you do less regularly, but when you do it, it's of very high value and takes you a long time each time you do it. So you pick your task or process, then you upload your best reference documents, or they're called knowledge docs in the ChatGPT. These might be documents like your internal policies or reports or templates or writing guides or FAQ sheets, or they become the internal reference library for the GPT, so that it's IP that the system prompt you write for the GPT will refer to. So a well-written system prompt will name those documents and explain when and how to apply them when the GPT is doing the task. And it's that interplay between your IP documents, the knowledge docs that you put into the back end of the GPT, and your clear instruction in your system prompt, those two forces interacting, that's what takes generic ChatGPT and creates this like high-performing, really bespoke tool for you and your organization. So you've loaded in your knowledge docs, then you write the system prompt. So that prompt that you write is like the instruction manual for how the custom GPT functions. And you just write it in plain English. You say, what is the role of this GPT? What are its objectives? What steps should it follow in the process of working? What are its rules and boundaries? What knowledge documents should it reference? How should it write and feel? And that's essentially it. Once you've done that, there's a couple of other minor steps, like you give it a name and an icon image. You decide a few things like, should it be able to access the web to do web research? Should it do advanced data analysis? Should it be able to create images? But all in all, it really is that easy as I'm describing. So then you test it and you publish it. And when you publish it, you have the option to publish it privately, only accessible by you, or to make it shareable, or even you can publish it straight to the public globally accessible custom GPT store. So my advice is get started. Create your first one. You'll see how ridiculously easy it is to build a custom GPT and how much utility they bring to your world, right? So I want to point out here, a custom GPT doesn't replace your people, but it does scale thinking. It captures methods, it spreads standards, if that's your intention, to share it across a team or a department or an organization, right? Be clear that the human stays in the loop. These are not full automations and designed to be that way, right? So judgment, nuance, ethics, responsible use of AI, that's all still on us as the humans when you're using custom GPTs. The output that you get from them, you should consider that you should hope that they're about 80 to 90% of the finished product. And then you, as the human, supply the wisdom and the discernment and the polish to finish off that final 10 to 20%. I want to allude to the fact that because you're using your own IP, you're loading it up with your own knowledge documents, you're doing something really powerful, actually. Because no other company has your tone of voice, your onboarding frameworks, your IP, your secret sauce, when you encode that into a custom GPT that anyone in the organization can use anytime, anywhere, and achieve that same elite output that the best of your humans used to produce manually, that's a really powerful multiplier and competitive advantage, you know? So you might be asking, how does it know what elite performance is? Because you've loaded examples of what elite output looks like that your elite humans have produced. You've loaded examples of those awesome reports, blog posts, essays, strategy documents, whatever it is that you're wanting to produce. You've loaded the best examples of those into the back end of the custom GPT, and through your prompt you've said this is what excellence looks like. Your output should mirror that, right? So, and when you do that, you're unlocking all of that IP and knowledge from the heads and the laptops of your top performers, and you're releasing it at scale into the everyday performance of everyone. So if you're a senior leader watching this and you're wondering whether custom GPTs are a solution to that age-old challenge of intelligence and frameworks and mentorship walking out the door when you lose your best performers, custom GPTs are absolutely an excellent way to mitigate that. So to give you a bit of real world proof, there's a biotech firm you will have heard of called Moderna. When their CEO decided they were going all in on AI a couple of years ago, he publicly stated he wanted 80% of his 3,000 person workforce using AI within 6 months. Obviously that was a stretch goal, but custom GPTs became one of his secret weapons in achieving it. So he trained his entire organization, upskilled them on AI and AI literacy, but crucially he helped them all to know how to build custom GPTs. Within 6 months, they had 750 GPTs across the organization. 6 months after that, they had 2,000 custom GPTs spread across all teams and departments, not built by the IT department, built by everybody, right? So some of them only saved 10 minutes in a task in a process. Others cut down like multi-day processes to be done in a couple of hours. But the end result was that that CEO did get his wish. 80% of his staff were using AI within 6 months. And he went on record publicly to say that they were achieving strategic and financial goals that he estimated they would have needed 100,000 people to do in the pre-AI era. So to repeat that, this is a 3,000 person company who within 1 year were performing at the level that their CEO estimated they would have needed 100,000 people to achieve pre-AI. Now, I'm not being so reductionist to suggest that custom GPTs were the sole reason for that transformation, but they were certainly a big part of the story. So it's kind of speaking to what I said at the top. This is not theoretical. This is happening now, right? So if there's one thing that I'd urge you to take away from this video, it's that custom GPTs are not just a shiny toy. They're a genuine shift. So please start with one. Just make one, right? Today, ideally. Pick a process that's painful and repetitive for you personally, and then build a custom GPT around it. Write a prompt that describes how to do that process. Load it up with any documents that are needed to do that process. Publish it, test it, refine it. There's literally nothing holding you back from doing that, right? And then when you're there, go and teach a teammate how you did it so they can start to build them, right? That's how these things scale and stretch. So, look, if you're wanting to go deeper into custom GPTs, our AI Academy gets into the nitty-gritty, step-by-step tactical of how to build powerful and advanced custom GPTs, but you also just don't need to wait for that. Your first GPT could and should be live today. If you get to that point, please tell me about it in the comments section below or on LinkedIn. I can't wait to see what you build.